Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Whovians Cast 712. I bet you never thought you'd see Connor and I back. Shit!
Oh my God! What's up, bro? How you doing?
Dude, Lord Croft is even excited.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, she gets me excited. So.
What's up, Chris?
Are you people ready for the return of greatness?
Yeah.
Here
What's
I
up,
am.
Scott?
Is somebody else? Is somebody else?
I
coming?
think we are.
We
Yeah.
are.
What's up, Connor? Connor?
Shit.
What's up, Scott?
None.
All right. So, what is your view of Series 9 so far, Mr. Connor and Mikey?
Oh, is Doctor Who back?
Yeah.
When?
It's been back, bro.
Oh.
Yeah. Tomorrow's part is episode 6 or
6? Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just kidding. I've seen them.
All right. So, why don't we go in order so we can get a Magician's Apprentice?
Well, shit, it's, well, I'm sorry. Jeez, it's been on for about half the season already, right?
Yeah. Halfway mark.
Well, Connor was telling me he thought this series sucked this season.
Is that true, Connor? Or?
No. I think it's the best yet.
Connor told me he would never watch Doctor Who again after Series 8. I don't know where he got that idea from. I'm being a smart.
I know.
Yeah, this series has been great, I thought. And actually, I want to call you out on one episode. Or actually, two.
I know what you're going to talk about.
Okay, all right.
We're going to talk about Under the Lake
Yes,
and Before the Flood.
yes.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
You're a fan of Classic Who.
Yes.
I'm trying to encapsulate this in like a cliff note, like
You heard my reference to the fact that when O'Donnell and the guy came out of the TARDIS, I felt like it was a Classic Who feel with Harry Sullivan and Sarah Jane Smith. You know, sort of like the Centauran episode, or
Yes.
And I had a see. Here's the thing. My whole thing is right. Like, I think Connor would be agreeing this, is that he wanted Shauna as like a companion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, right, I'm tired of them having companions where they have to do all these ridiculous things. They have to be like a supermodel. They have to like absorb the time vortex. They have to like live a whole year in another reality. Like whatever. The pressure is just ridiculous. Where Moffat makes it where every friggin' time there's got to be a reason why they're a companion. Amy Pond's a companion because her life doesn't make sense because the cracks in the wall. Clara died twice. She has to be a companion. Why can't we just have any old person just be a companion without the pressure of it?
Yeah.
So my big argument with that episode was the fact that here it is, someone's excited about the TARDIS, bigger on the inside, she's tough. It goes against kind of a little bit about the soldiery thing where you don't allow soldiers to be like in the TARDIS, but she gave that up. So she could be a companion. She could travel with him, okay? And it's like you blink and she's dead already. It's like you didn't get to establish, like you have these two characters that are good enough to be with the Doctor traveling with him. And we only get bits and pieces and immediately she's like dead, okay? Like fast. And it was like, why did you even bring them there? Like, why even have that, You never had a situation where the Doctor just traveled somewhere and he died right away. It's like ridiculous, at least, So then the guy, too, it's like you have the whole thing where this whole episode, this one loves this one loves this one.
Well, wait, wait. Hold on. We're hopping all over the place here.
Okay. Why don't we go back to the first part?
Well, the thing about the companion dying, I thought that was in contrast to the fact that he's been traveling with Clara, and we're expecting that there's going to be some sort of like final denouement of her character that's going to be less than acceptable to the Doctor. Okay. And what's going to happen is I see that with this character, or some of the allusions to death, is that we're seeing like in contrast to Clara, who's been around for like a while, that you have companions and they're getting snipped out like in half an episode, and they're playing with this idea of what makes a companion. You know, they travel with the Doctor, they die, and the Doctor. So you have to remember the Doctor's observing these things too.
Right.
And and you said it in an earlier Real Whovians cast of yours you did, I believe earlier this week or the end of last week, that you believe that the Doctor is aware that Clara's going to die. He's kind of like slowly alluding to it, like he did in the Maisie Williams two-parter.
Right.
Where he mentioned something about sometimes you can lose some people that you don't come back from, sort of thing. I think that they have put that into the story, into the writing of that script, to show the audience there's a foreshadowing going on with a quote-unquote companion, and they're doing that to point out to the Doctor that people can come and go, because the Doctor's eternal. You know, he's almost like, you know, where he just can't die at all.
Right.
So to him, if someone dies in one episode, or if somebody dies in like 3 series, with however many episodes that he's had with Clara, for example, it's still the same thing. He says, I'm tired of losing people. He's not just talking about people that have been with him for series and series and series. He's talking about he's tired of losing people.
Right.
People, you know, his travelers, his companions.
Right.
You know?
Well,
I mean,
why are we going through that again? We already went through where he retired because he lost Amy and Rory, right? Is this what's going to happen every time somebody leaves?
Well, Connor might interject in this. Yeah.
What I've observed with this series so far is that, rather shockingly actually, life and death actually matters. Where, you know, like with, well, we haven't seen The Woman Who Lived yet, but when the Doctor made Ashilda immortal, at the end, where he had that wonderful shot of her face, you can clearly see that it's what she's.
Mortality maybe is not exactly a blessing.
Yeah, it's not what she wanted. It's scarred her, and it's going to make her into this highway.
And see, and if I may interject real quick for a sentence here, that's a good point Connor made, because not only is the Doctor perceived as being a pseudo immortal being, but now Maisie Williams' character is. So the Doctor's going to be able to look at Maisie Williams' character and see in a character a bit of himself, because he's going to encounter her in the next episode, and we don't see Clara in that trailer to that episode, which is interesting that you pointed out.
Right.
So I think, like Connor said, that well, this is running on for longer than a sentence. I apologize, but that we're kind of on a rant here about life and death.
That's all right. That's all right. Go ahead.
I see that what he says is dead on target. That we see a lot of life and death, like even down to when the Vikings first get beamed up to Odin's ship. Like all the Vikings get killed.
To be sniffed and drank.
Mm-hmm. And then what does Maisie Williams' character and Clara, one of the two characters says, "Why did we live?" And they died. So there's a lot of attention to value of characters. Like does one character, is their life more valuable than another character because they happen to, like, you put a lot of value on this companion who traveled with the Doctor, just got snipped out, like in half an episode, you know, when you thought that there was going to be more of a value placed on her. Just like there's a lot of like displaced value characters, and you thought Maisie was going to be somebody who's going to die, which she did at the end of the episode, but then he gave her that alien chip. So they're playing with the life and death. And see, we had some of that last season with the Nethersphere also, and I'm not bringing that up for comedic value.
Right. Well, let me just interject and say that could making Maisie Williams immortal be an opening for him accepting her as a companion next series or specials or whatever?
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I've kind of compromised this cast so far with talking, blabbing away. So go ahead, man. Sorry.
I think she is basically the female Captain Jack, where she's going to be there. I think she'll appear in future series. They've kind of set her character up. Even the way that they marketed the entire series, where it's just her face everywhere. It's kind of she's not. I don't think she'll be a companion, but she will be a guest star in future series probably. That's what I think, but who knows?
Well, the way it fits with Game of Thrones, it just so happens with the filming that she's able to film Doctor Who here and there. because like she already filmed Game of Thrones and now she's doing this. She did this. You know what I'm saying? So and then she goes back to filming Game of Thrones again. So the thing I have to I want to point out some things about the episode too, is that I did like that a lot when they showed her face being happy and then all of a sudden being freaking absolutely miserable with the thought of being immortal and everybody dying in front of her and just altering her, changing her, whatever. But like going back to we're going off topic. Let me go back to why I didn't like as much as the other episodes Under the Lake. Since we've seen, like, I have it in my mindset, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Connor or Mike D. Since Magician's Apprentice, okay, the way he reacted to Clara, when do I not see you? Like, so emotional, gave her a hug. I knew flat out there he saw that she does, okay?
Yeah.
So now it's a thing where he's traveling with her, knowing it's going to happen, but maybe with her more because knowing it's going to happen, right? And it's just like, are we going to do this every episode where you're going to constantly ask her, are you okay? Why don't you get a hobby? Why don't you date somebody? Whatever. Like, the problem I'm having with Under the Lake was that at first we got to see the ghosts. I'm like, okay, they have the background characters, likable characters, okay? Certain things, to me, like the episode felt like... I didn't like how Moffat's throwing in lines that didn't have anything really to do with the episode, just to throw it in there. Like, he talked about the, freaking, what the hell is the thing? The Nethersphere, popping out bodies and other stupid things. Like, why are you doing that?
So, if anybody, this was their first episode.
We're talking about the third episode now.
This episode as well. It's like he was name dropping.
Like he's throwing in things that we'll have to catch fast, like, and that's taking away, I feel, from the story, right? And then the way they have it, it's like, it just seemed to me like I don't like the way the Doctor acts, where he's like just not getting it. Like, I mean, he's. From one minute he goes to David Tennant to like be more human than anything to like Matt Smith being all over the place to like totally being clueless with stuff. I mean the thing was funny about the cue cards, but it's getting overboard ridiculous that he just doesn't have any emotions anymore or common sense that this one is upset that this one died or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't like the way he's being written sometimes. Peter Capaldi's character, or like they're making it like he's so old that he can't remember anything. He has a diary.
I kind of have something to argue your point, Joe. When we talk about common sense, we obviously talk about it from a human perspective.
Right.
What human common sense is. The problem that I'm not going to go into a Tennant.
I mean, David Tennant had common sense, I think.
He had common sense, but he had human common sense. He didn't have alien common sense, which is what the Doctor is. He's an alien. So you've got to always remember that he's not going to be a socially keen
incarnation. Right, okay.
Well, think of the difference between Tom Baker and Peter Davison. Davison was more like a older brother. He was very... He was more in tune with like the human side, whereas Baker was more alien. And Capaldi has reminded me very much of Baker, even in his delivery, his tone of his voice in this season specifically, in the way he talks and how he's kind of out there, kind of in an alien way.
Well, even in Under the Lake, I mean, that is the perfect example of him channeling Tom Baker. He was Tom Baker.
Well, I like the part where he's screaming at the Fisher King. I mean, there's things I liked about it more than the first part. But my point, I'm going on and on too. But my point is that with the first part, I didn't feel there was a necessarily need that you would expect that to be a two-parter. Now, when we got into the second part, I got used to the traveling with him and everything, and I like the cliffhanger, don't get me wrong, where he was dead and everything. But another problem I have is how many years are you going to do Doctor Who where the fear is always, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. You did it with David Tennant how many times? You did it with Matt Smith how many times? Can we please have an episode where the doctor like has the thing he's going to die. Let's get away from that. That's a big distraction. And you know, I did like the line where she said the Minister of War, because when I heard that, I said to myself, he knows he can't die because he has to encounter that person. But then it kind of throw everything off the loop because then it was like, well, they didn't really mention it after that, the Minister of War.
Yeah, but something you might not be thinking about is there's a connection between Dr. Ten and this doctor because of the fires of Pompeii.
There's a lot of connections.
So, and remember, he regenerated to remind himself that he is a good man. So this regeneration, this new cycle of regenerations, however you want to look upon it, this doctor or this series of doctors and this cycle of regenerations probably have more of a value on death. They understand it more now because of that.
But
Maybe
why at the end? I'm sorry. Why
No,
at the end? Why at the end of Trenzalore, where he stood there for 1,000 years? He knows he's a good man. So why would he have to remind himself that he's a good man and regenerate that way? I mean, he stood on Trenzalore for 1,000 years, protecting those people.
Well,
Maybe
it took. Well, the thing is, maybe that was like he was reaching out for desperation, and that regeneration is what kicked in that humanity, that side of him that feels a fear somewhere or a remorse for losing people, and a remorse for his own mortality. Maybe that's what accomplished that. Because Matt Smith, just because he was there for like 1,000 years, doesn't mean he learned anything. It just means it was a self-imposed exile.
But the thing is that Matt Smith, like we always know, the doctor does not control the regeneration, And when Matt Smith found out he's going to be old, he's like, please, I don't want to be old. I don't want to regenerate old. Like he has no choice, So I'm trying to think, well, is it something to do with a thought and emotion when he regenerates that affects the regeneration? Because I'm thinking to myself, okay, he saved Trenzalore. You got to see that Clara was in love with him, because she even said it, General Louis Coleman, in a thing. So why would he have to remind himself that he's a good man? I mean, what incarnation does that? 1,000 years you're on the planet saving them.
Well, what do you think, Scott, about all this?
Well, the fact that he went through the Time War, and of course he did what he did, and he was on the verge of doing that, and then he had to spend that 1,000 years on Trenzalore, seeing all these people that he came to know come and die, which is in a way is what happened to Macy Williams' character, as well. It gets old, it gets tiresome, it's just draining on him. So that's probably why he eventually said, I'm tired of death, I'm going to do everything I can to stop it, so I'm going to put the chip in the gal's head. And the whole seeing the gal who in Under the Lake, it's draining.
No, but why would he regenerate that way?
Well, I mean,
that face.
Probably that's just it. It got all the wars he's seen. It eats away at him, and all the things he's got to do. He has to remind himself that yes, I'm a good man. Yes, I know I did this evil thing over here. But yes, I am a good man. He has to remind himself, because probably we haven't seen anything off camera. He probably did some things off camera that were not.
I think he did a lot of things off camera that are pretty bad, because he looks kind of like he was traveling for a while when we see him in The Magician's Apprentice.
Yeah, but a lot of the things he's done is it probably just takes a bit of his soul away, and he just has to. It's like to himself he has to say, "I'm a good man." It's probably like one of those. Fourth wall type of things, to where he's.
Well, we saw this reflected in the Time Lord Victorious.
The
10th Doctor. We know that there's a connection between Dr. Ten and Capaldi and Fires of Pompeii. So maybe there's some sort of like resonance that's carried over in that, where he's kind of got a little bit of that same sort of eternal strife going on from that. I believe it. I mean, I look upon it like that because he's very forlorn.
Listen, David Tennant is responsible for so many episodes that are connected with Capaldi. Besides Fires of Pompeii, River. The whole thing with River started with David Tennant. I mean, technically Day of the Doctor, Tennant saved everybody, and then 11th Doctor saved everybody. I mean, it's like, everything was connected with him. He had the loss of Rose. He had, this. He had that. I mean,
yeah, but see, Smith's doctor had Rory there with Amy, so he had a bit of a buffer, and plus, like Amy and Rory were together as a couple, where it wasn't a one-on-one, where he felt the whole weight bearing down upon him, like Capaldi does with Clara.
Right.
And I mean, like at the end of this last episode, like the thing with the chip, I was watching that and I was very much reminded of like the whole 10th Doctor Time Lord Victorious thing, where he's like, I can do something. Because don't forget, he was very reticent about helping. He wanted to leave. Yeah. His initial reaction is, we got to go. This is just the way things got to be. It's almost like he knew that wasn't the answer, but there was fear there. He was afraid.
Right.
Like he was Clara, flipping a coin. Like,
but he lost his mind, though. I mean, he after that, he just snapped, where he's like, I'm unstoppable. Who's going to stop me? I mean, he totally went overboard, like totally lost it.
Like that baby's little tune what helped him get through.
What's that, Connor?
I was going to say that's what this entire series is about as well. He's breaking the rules of time. I mean, the entire of Before the Flood was about the bootstrap paradox, which is basically what we saw in Father's Day. He's breaking the law of time. He's breaking the rules. He's being, reckless.
Clara.
He's being reckless. I don't know what for. There'll be a purpose at the end of it all, but
I agree. It's leading to something, because I think he's going to get more. I think he's going to get a little bit more unstable as far as like the closer it gets to Clara's demise. About like he sees Maisie as like a pseudo Clara, where it's like he's afraid to intervene. He's conflicted, but he knows that he should do this. But he also knows that he's been constrained by the rules of time governed by the Time Lords, Gallifrey. But then he's like, yeah, but he's also like, well, they're not, who's going to stop me? And I think that's going to be leading to Gallifrey coming back, like, soon, maybe next series. I think they may be leading into that, because we know that River Song's going to be in the Christmas episode, and didn't we get, like, a report that she was there to kind of get him back on track?
Correct, I heard that. Yeah.
So I think this is building. We're seeing inklings of things, and we're kind of jumping on the bandwagon instead of letting it play out. We're jumping on too soon, kind of judging that whole...
I just don't like it that, we have the episode where the girl who died, and he's like, I don't know if I should help them, because if I help them, then the minds will come back. Like, whatever, this will come back and everything. Since when did he ever question about helping anybody? That's what I don't understand. Like, why all of a sudden now you're constantly talking about ripples, and I'm causing tidal waves, and I'm causing this. But you can't just, like, go save people. I don't understand now all of a sudden that it's a thing where it's like, I mean, it could have been the Davros thing that he screwed up in the head, because, like, all right, he saved Davros and he walked away with them and stuff. I mean, look, first of all, if you think about it, the other guy died. So that's not how he lost his legs and blew up and everything, because he would have probably been flat out dead if he went in there. You know what I'm saying? So that he didn't create Davros. He just wound up landing there when that happened. And even if he didn't land, Davros was still going to be what he was without him being there. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he caused anything with Davros. I think it was unfortunate that he landed there, but then, of course, part of the story that we're in. So,
what'd you say, Scott?
I said he would have found some way of getting out of that hand mind anyway.
And then he would have somehow got an explosion and blew his legs off or whatever.
I don't know if you guys are like me, but I'm getting like a conflicting feeling about the way that the Doctor's reacting from episode to episode, because it's very inconsistent.
I don't like that. He's not confident.
He's getting a lot more vulnerable.
And then finally he needs somebody to bring him back. That's getting old.
Yeah.
Well, the Doctor's acting more human, actually, in his alienness, if that makes sense, because
it does.
He's flawed like we are. We want to believe we always can make the same great decisions and win the day at the end of whatever comes our way, but and he feels like he should. That's why it seems like he's very erratic and very manic about from episode to episode. He's very confident, but like he said in one of those episodes that I think it was in the first one with Maisie, when they first showed up, like in the Viking village, didn't she say something about, I thought you had a plan, and he's like, yeah, I'm working on it, and it's like, he's the kind of guy that's like, never let them see you bleed.
Right.
He always is devising a plan, even if he doesn't have one.
And
so
he's off his game. He's off his game.
Yes, and I think what it is he may know that Clara's going to die, and he's questioning how he would allow that to happen. And we're seeing everything that's leading up to that, where he knows that somehow he lets her down, or because of a mistake he made. But it's almost like he's been making mistakes, like he did with Davros. So he's questioning that whole, just because I have the power to do something, and I can do it. Before he was saying, well, I've got the power to do it. Should I do it? Now he's saying, well, or could he do it? He knows he can do it now. Now he's questioning, should he do it? Because if he does do it because he knows that he can, maybe should he do that? And if because he makes decision A, thinking that he's going to win, that ends up being the wrong decision, like with Davros.
But don't you think that's handicapping the episode? Like episode to episode to episode to episode, he's questioning himself. And Clara's saying, dude, like, you usually have a plan. Something's wrong. You're off your game. Get out of it. Snap out of it. Find a way to win.
Well,
right?
the fifth Doctor was like that. He didn't always win. He lost companions. And I mean, look at what happened with Tegan. You know, it stopped being fun.
Yeah.
She had to leave.
Right.
And
so
when he's around Clara now, it's like he knows how she's going to die, and he's trying to bite his tongue from going, well, see, this is what's going to happen to you. This is why I'm trying to protect you from this. And that's what that little conversation in not Under the Lake, the first one, that was.
But doesn't he know? Didn't he know how she was going to die? Because didn't in Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, Matt Smith's doctor said he traveled ahead and saw her die in the future? So didn't he learn her death back then, or no?
I would go back and rewatch it, but the future's not always written. Everything.
Right. So I mean, my biggest thing is that, you know, I just want, like, are you going to question yourself every episode? Just go with it already. Like, all right, she's not there this episode, right? The next episode, how is that going to be? Is he going to be like, I got to save? Is he going to alter time where he saves Osgood now?
Well, no, maybe he's dropping Clara off somewhere because he thinks that's going to stave off her demise somehow. And that's why he's with Macy, because he knows she can't die. Right. He has to take her on a adventure for his own purposes. I mean, we're like having to really kind of interject our own assertions and assume a lot with what's going to happen in the next episode. And one thing Connor and I talked about last week or so, a couple of weeks, was that we, like a lot of our theories that we had discussed, or you guys had discussed in our absence, was they don't really come to fruition. I mean, we have been right about a lot of things, but the one thing that we've noticed is a lot of the theories, especially regarding like nods to the classic series, about bringing people back. New Who really just seems to be about like the new Who generation. They don't really do a lot of referencing to classic series. So I don't.
They reference it at the wrong times.
Yeah.
Well, not all the time.
They always do it in audibles where the updated they actually do visual. I forget if it was mentioned here or someplace else, but.
See, I think it would be cool if, like, Capaldi, maybe, even if he's in the TARDIS by himself and the situation calls for this to be appropriate at the time, but just him having an internal dialogue, like he talks to the screen. And I think it'd be cool with him having this apprehension about this incarnation and what he's feeling, what he's dealing with, if he just kind of has a dialogue where he just mentions Tegan. It says, like, Tegan, you know, I know how you feel now, or like, I understand now. You know, it's kind of a nod to people like us that have seen the classic series. That would be cool because we understand what that means. Like, he's feeling like, you know, like Tegan. She was saying, you know, it's not become fun anymore. You know, right. People are dying or we're losing people, and that's part of why she left. And so I see that Capaldi. It would actually be cool to have Tegan back, like, episode, to have them maybe, you know, reflect off each other, that sort of thing. But even just a nod in passing, because he's mentioned, like, Sarah Jane, He's mentioned Jamie. I mean, they've mentioned a lot of companions and a lot of like villains and whatnot. If he just said something, because we would know what he meant by that, and said, "Oh, you know," even if he just went like, "Oh, Tegan, you know, like it's taken so long, but I understand now," you know, and just makes it kind of a passing comment.
Well, everybody's been in the TARDIS taking pictures, but nobody's been in episodes. Like everybody. I mean, they had Louise Jameson, they had Katie Manning, they had, I mean, like, you know, everybody, but they're not in episodes. Wouldn't it be nice if they could just film minisodes with them or something? At least, I mean, why wouldn't you seize that opportunity? You know, but again, even to have the Doctor talk to his other selves as a hologram in the TARDIS,
or even
would be good.
Or even yet, he's walking by what looks like simple mirrors. I mean, to us, it looks like simple mirrors, but we get it from his point of view as if he's passing each of his past selves.
Right.
But
like we're hearing in the finale that Paul McGann's in it with David Tennant. Now, you know, of course, David Tennant's New Who, right? Paul McGann's kind of not like really classic Who. It's in between. Why couldn't we have a classic Doctor in the finale? You know, I mean, I just Peter Davison. Why not? I mean, I don't understand. You know, we do need a connection with the classic series, true, but also like, where are we going with this season? Okay?
I really don't act like McGann is classic.
Me too. I don't consider him.
I really see him as like a prologue to like the new series.
In between. That's what I always felt he's in between. I don't consider him classic Doctor Who. He's just, you know, there. But
he could float here or there. To me,
he's like the void between our world and another world. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like between two different eras.
And he was the Time Lord Doctor, so that's appropriate.
Yeah. So, like, we have the Davros talking about the hybrid. Now all of a sudden we have hybrid. It's like, isn't that a little too convenient?
I'm still thinking that Maisie's is a red herring. I just have this feeling that she's the red herring, and we'll find out about that in let's see, not this next episode, but maybe like the second or third one after this one.
Could Maisie be Madame Kavaria?
No.
I mean, I'm not joking. I mean, gotta make it. I mean, a semi-serious statement at least.
Well, you know, I mean, that could. I don't know. I mean,
well, I meant with the chip, the immortality chip, like.
It's possible. I mean, we don't really know a lot.
Like that's why she dislikes the Doctor. It's like the Doctor thought he was doing it. Like he created Davros. Why couldn't he have created Madame Kavaria in the same way? He thought he was doing a good. And
right. And then she hates him because she had to live through that.
Yes.
Right. That would be a good idea, though. But the only thing is, she never ages. So it couldn't be Madame Kavaria.
Well, they could change that in one sentence in an episode and go, oh, well, we were wrong. We didn't, like, the Doctor could say, oh, well, you know, I'm not always right.
Right. That's true, though. Just like with Mickey, they probably,
Maisie's character now is really a personification of the Doctor's mistakes. She's like, you know, conveniently, her name in this episode, The Woman Who Lived, is the Nightmare.
Oh, I thought she said she called herself Me.
Yeah, because she obviously lost everyone, but her bandit highwayman name is the Nightmare. Right. So she's a bit of a nightmare for the Doctor. So
is she the Nightmare Child?
No, I doubt that, because that's a fucking black hole thing, isn't it? So.
Right.
What's her character name? What's her character name, anyways? I keep calling her Maisie Williams. I'd rather refer to her. Ashilda?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, she's kind of like, she's important now because she is the only person really that's a personification of his mistakes. He made her as she will be in The Woman Who Lived. I mean, not so much in The Girl Who Died, because obviously she was a Viking girl. But now, from now on, she seems to be turning to a life of crime and, you know, sinning or whatever. I don't know, bad acts or whatever. She's committing those kind of things because of him.
Right.
You know, so he created what she's become. So now that when we're going back to the vulnerability kind of side of the Doctor, the fact that now he's got someone that's kind of there, she's a personification of his mistakes, it's obviously going to make him a lot more uneasy and vulnerable because he can now see what he's done. Because like it's clear from the Next Time trailer, you know, anything, the preview clips, that she's not the character she was in The Girl Who Died. She's far more aggressive. She's she definitely looks,
almost like a Robin Hood type style.
But
yeah,
do
she
we
looks
want
like she's
that?
Guard by time.
Do
you know,
we want a vulnerable Doctor, though? Do we want to see that all the time?
No.
Well, we won't see it all the time, but for the rest of this series, we probably will. He'll get more uneasy until he finally. No.
I mean, what about the Beast? You know, the Doctor that's the Beast, the one that's supposed to... I thought they were going to make him out to be like where everybody's scared the crap out of him, like he just takes everybody... Like he's really a strong Doctor that takes no crap from them, right? I mean, it's like, when are we going to get that? I mean, it was like that in Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, but I mean...
Well, I mean, even the strongest of people have their internal doubts, you know. They're their own enemies oftentimes, so... I mean, like, we have, like, Macy's characters, a bit of a swashbuckling sort of Errol Flynn type in this next episode coming up. Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you're immortal and you've lived as long as she has, you have to start, like, coming up with new ways to, like, entertain yourself and get vitality into your immortal life. So, I mean, you're going to start pushing the envelope.
Right.
You get an adrenaline rush.
See, a lot of
your mortality to the test.
Another thing I don't like about, like, you were asking me about why I didn't like the episode of, you know, after, you know, before the flood and all that stuff. I had a problem where they were building up the Fisher King, like, we can't wait to see the Fisher King, and he was gone with the blink of an eye, like, so fast. You know, it's like, you know, it was really cool what happened to him, don't get me wrong, where the Doctor tricked him in the dam and everything, but it's like, he was there and he was not there. He's gone. You know,
it's going to have him in a future episode. They just want to go, here's your taste, and then here he is maybe in the final, or maybe you see more of him in the Christmas Adventure.
I mean, another thing, too, he said he was going to put the glasses on that guy. I guess they did that off camera, right? Because if he didn't, then he would still have the memory of that insignia thing, and then the ghost would still be around, correct?
See, I thought it made it more intriguing that they kept him more, like, towards the end of the episode, because they were building towards that. You know, it's kind of like Jaws. You know, the less you see of the shark and the more that you have the implied threat of what's causing the threat, the more malleable the threat is.
It was just so fast, though. He was there and he's gone. It was, like, fast.
The difference in this series, which I'm actually liking an awful lot, is that the first episode of every two-parter is the setup, but then the second seems to be more of a character episode. It's less about the action, more about the characters. So, like in The Witch's Familiar, you had the relationship between Missy and Clara, and then the relationship between the Doctor and Davros.
Right.
And then in Before the Flood, it was about, you know, the Bennett and O'Donnell and the Doctor, and then you had the Fisher King. It's every second part seems to have a far more limited cast because they're trying to focus in on the main characters.
Like this would be a Maisie Williams-centric focus.
Well, yeah, this is exactly what The Woman Who Lived is. It's going to be from what I've read in spoiler-free, previews and stuff, that it's like a study of immortality. It's basically her and the Doctor having a really long 45-minute conversation talking about immortality and, you know, the choices that they make because they're immortal. You know, going back to the Doctor and Ashilda, you know, Me, the Nightmare, whatever you want to call her recklessness is kind of the same as the Doctor's because, you know, she knows that she's never going to die. So, you know, push the envelope.
Well, Davros even told him that his consciousness is its greatest weakness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Passion.
compassion. Yeah.
Passion, right. Well, let me ask you a question. Are you guys happy with the reveal about how it chose his face? I mean, did it
It's not.
exceed your expectations?
That's
Well,
not.
after we talked it up for about 8 months and expected it to be something grand, it was kind of lackluster. And I think maybe I don't know if it was Chris or if it was James or Scott or somebody on the cast said something about that. I bet when they actually show it, it's going to be less thrilling than what we made it up to be.
Right.
But I mean, nonetheless, I mean, at least it was dealt with. It was addressed.
Right. Which is true.
Yeah, we're expecting that we're going to have like this whole two-parter where the Sisterhood of Karn and there's going to be like regeneration shit going on or crap, excuse me. So,
Well, there was a lot of things that we thought, like the Master be regenerating, and meanwhile it turned out to be Colony Sarf and all these different things.
Thank God, because Colony Sarf is like the greatest design in.
I love that character.
He's my new favorite villain.
I don't understand why they called him Colony Scarf though. He doesn't wear a scarf.
I screwed up with that. I screwed up with that. Valentine, I screwed up with that.
So you say you should have had a multicolored scarf?
Which, if you watch the last Everything show, I explained it. Like,
I know. We were messing around with you.
Yeah. But again, I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Connor, the finale not only has David Tennant and Paul McGann, but Maisie Williams, the Daleks, Davros.
Well, wait, is that true that McGann and Tennant are in that?
No, forget
not.
McGann, Tennant, Davros, Daleks. I'm pretty certain that Ashilda's going to be in it.
Yeah,
because yeah,
so
she's
you're
like,
saying that Missy is not going to be in it with Davros and all that stuff?
Missy might be in it because I think that she's going to be the hybrid. Well, not so much the hybrid, but she's going to be what?
Well, I can tell you one thing that is an intriguing thought to keep in the back of your head, and I'm glad you guys have brought this up and are talking about this. What does Missy want? She wants immortality. The Master's always wanted that. Isn't there one more alien chip that the Doctor bestowed Maisie Williams' character with?
Whoever she meets up with. And she probably gets if they do have Missy, she probably cons her into giving that chip up.
But she has the Nethersphere. She can create a body anytime she wants it.
That's gone. It's gone.
It's gone?
Yeah.
Yes.
He just mentioned it. He just mentioned it in
he mentioned it like he mentioned Autons, like you know, they're see-through, you know, they're ghosts. Whoa.
Yeah, but
like,
why go through all that crap when she can just like stick the chip, you know, swallow the chip or something?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the whole thing, other thing too, is she's so concerned in this incarnation with being his friend.
It's probably a con job to get close to him.
Yeah, exactly.
She's got an alternate, just like.
But he trusts her, though.
Come on,
motives.
Joe. Come on, man. The Master. I mean, you've seen this show.
No, but he
for like
trusts
30
her.
years.
Why is he trusting her when you see Legopolis, where like the fourth Doctor didn't even want to.
Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it didn't look like he was very trusting of her when he nearly had him kill Clara in the Dalek. Because
he was pissed after that with her.
Well, yeah, he told her to run, and then she ran
to the killer, right?
through Daleks, and then she said, "Well, I've got a great plan," you know, which I think will turn out to be the hybrid thing. But actually, going back to that scene is actually pretty pivotal.
I thought she meant that her plan was to make them shoot at her and then her zap out of there using the energy that she explained in the beginning of the episode.
It could be that, but I think it's got to do with the overall series thing.
Well, that second Davros episode, like the way it started, was like super classic example of a Deus Ex Machina explanation for something to get. I mean, they built the whole thing up about they're going to die, and then all of a sudden, hey, they're alive, and oh, by the way, you know, we're going to explain this away in a 3-minute flashback, if even that. And it's like, come on, you know.
Well, how do we know that?
I mean, that episode is like the best of the series so far because, you know, it's set up a load of things. It's explored the Doctor's character more. It explored Davros. The Witch Familiar. Yeah.
Now, were you
the Doctor was the hybrid?
Joe, were you really that surprised that boy was Davros? I mean, come on. You knew.
I know, I knew that. No, but well, look, half the times we predict things that don't come out to be true. So when it actually was true, it was nice.
Yeah, but I'll tell you the one thing that we actually said. We've said this ever since I've been on this cast. Stop making individual episodes and do two-parters. And we talked about that for over a year.
And he listened to us.
Did it, yeah.
Well, if you notice, when we say things, it does happen eventually. I would say something, or you would say something, whatever, and all of a sudden we get what we want, but to an extent.
Yeah.
Like, not exactly the way we envisioned it.
I didn't hear any talk about two-parters for a long time, like coming from the BBC and the production.
Right.
And I'm not like trying to pat myself on the back. Well, maybe I am a little bit, like, you know, with all of you with the show here. But we did talk about that. We said we would rather see two-parter episodes, more like in lieu of the classic series.
We would say, like, heated time, make the whole season, like, interlocked, or two-parters, and constantly forget about these one-off things like the Forest and the Night, whatever. That's true. We did all say that.
And this is working great, because I got to tell you, like, I don't hate on Matt Smith. I like Matt Smith, but I like him less than the other doctors. Maybe not all of them, but I just felt like his storylines were so rushed. There was so much to fit in there in a 1 hour period, whereas with some two-parters, I think that they really could have answered some more questions.
Right.
And not felt like they were just kind of shoehorning it in.
It's just we could have had another season with him, which I think would have been appropriate. And he kind of, like, Moffat was kind of, like, arrogant enough to think that he would stay, he didn't stay, and then he just tried to explain everything in, like, a sentence or two, which was just fell apart, I felt. Like, if you're going to build something up to that conclusion, and if you can't explain it, wait to the next doctor to explain it if you have to be that bad. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why ruin it? Like, when Missy announced that she gave her the number, I was like, oh. You know, it's like, I felt like after all that, we get something like that quick reveal thing. I just, so far this season, we got this, I'm loving this two-parter. And again, I didn't give the other one a failing grade. I gave it a passing grade, the lower of what we've seen so far. But I think even the next episode after this one, he's going to probably be more afraid than ever that she's going to die right there, because you're going to have the Zygon invasion.
Yeah.
I thought that two-parter was stronger than Rings of Akatan by far. I know that's an episode.
I know you have to give me digs about the Rings of Akatan, but the episode accomplishes a lot because it basically sets the stage for Clara, her beginnings. It's not just about in space where they travel in space with, you know, it really was like Clara-centric, and it worked for me. Like, that could be an episode where you could introduce someone to Doctor Who. That's why I love that episode. There was so much in that episode that I could take from it. So that's my thing. You know, you don't have to like it if you don't like, but you know.
Well, I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying,
right.
Like comparison. I mean, like Connor craps on Castrovalva, and I think that's a great episode.
I could watch that. I like that too. You know.
I mean, some episodes call for having like a closer sort of more set-based drama of what's going on with, especially with Davison having problems with his regeneration. Yeah. And I thought that the cast, it was their time to shine. You know, Adric, Teague, and Nissa, for you to see what's going on with the companions and how they help the Doctor.
See, that's what I would like with Capaldi. I would like him more than one companion.
He needs to.
He needs to, yes.
And one of them needs to be either an alien or someone who came like decades to a century prior to the series beginning. Because to me, having someone constantly in the modern age, it's starting to get dull. You don't have that fresh eye look. The only time they have a fresh eye look is when they travel to some alien world, and it'd be kind of great to see somebody, either an alien or comes decades to centuries before the series, come to a modern age or come to Earth and go, oh, wow.
I would have Capaldi with two different female companions.
No.
Each of them are completely opposite. They both bring something to the table that maybe he traveled with this one, maybe traveled with this one. Now they're both together at the same time, but there's conflict. I would have like a type of conflict, like a Turlo type of thing with, Nissa Tegan, like all that, but only that you would have them both likable in their own way.
I think you need to have like a younger male companion, somebody that the Doctor can kind of like try and rein in. Maybe it's somebody that's like Ace, it's a bit of a like rebel rouser, like juvenile delinquent sort of type.
I really am surprised that they never had Danny Pink travel with them.
I still think he had rubbed Moffat the wrong way or something.
I think something happened with that because he did a 180 totally with that whole Danny Pink thing.
He was made of cardboard, like quite literally. I think he was made of cardboard. He was so bland that
probably the Christmas special, especially. Like he's just like the way he's laying on the couch. It was like he looked like Stretch Armstrong. Like.
Well, the problem with Danny Pink was he got too pee-whipped by Clara. He became like a neutered Vanilla sort of character.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I like how like they had the dynamic between like the Second Doctor and Jamie McCrimmon, where Jamie kind of started out being like a bit of a savage, or kind of like Leela, where the Doctor kind of had to mentor him around to being a little bit, take the edge off the companion a little bit. Don't be so savage.
But you didn't like Rory with Matt Smith, especially when Amy was out of the picture and he had to dress up like a Centurion and take on the Cybermen and like do that whole. You didn't like that?
Well, I mean, Rory was a bit of a Ponce, though, wasn't he?
Well, that was the weird thing. Sometimes he wasn't, and sometimes he was. Which I'm like, how can you turn it on and off like that?
I mean, Rory, like, you never really, I don't know, you never really took him seriously. He always seemed to be kind of the comic relief.
He was the robot dog.
Do you like the way they portray? Do you like the way they portray Clara this season compared to last season?
Yeah, especially in Under the Lake. She was brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, like in Under the Lake, she was genuinely a companion. She wasn't someone who'd wipe the Doctor's ass. She wasn't his mother.
She was dressing.
I felt last series that they were focused more on Capaldi's new Doctor, introducing him, getting him like kind of in the groove. So they introduced Clara with a complicated love interest drama thing, just to have a B story to talk about with her, to keep her on the show and in the picture, but not really at the forefront of any real meaningful character type development. And I think that with Danny out of it in this series now, we have real character dynamic going on between Dr. 12 and her.
And I mean, more praise to Missy, actually, because, I mean, she was great in Dark Water and Death in Heaven, but in The Magician's Apprentice in particular, I thought that Michelle Gomez just transcended the character of the Master.
And that's a great point, because I think that Michelle Gomez has actually brought what a great actress Jenna Louise Colvin is capable of being to the forefront more in this series because of that.
Right.
Yeah,
I liked her a lot. Yeah.
Every scene between her and Clara just clicked. She was, on point. Like, I mean, the only niggle about it's not really her fault, but the square window gag in Magician's Apprentice where her head just fucking shot out of the.
That was ridiculous.
That was stupid, but it was her. It was missing.
Right.
But like other than that, I liked the bit where she reintroduced herself.
Well, little Joe was talking to me, and he's like, "Dad, are you gonna be like this the whole season?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You have like the greatest 2-part opener ever, like." And it built up everybody's expectations. Like everybody's expecting every episode to follow to be on that hard. Because like Joe had a problem with me not liking, the 2-parter like Under the Lake, Before the Flood, whatever. So he's like, Dad, they all can't be like Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar. And I'm like, I know that, but there was a lot of problems I had with those episodes. They still passed rating-wise, but that's what I had.
Joe's a smart kid. I agree with him on that.
Right. Well, he just said, Joe's like, maybe it was a mistake to have it so good because everybody probably would be crapping on the whole season because of the wonderful 2-parter,
Well, I haven't had a single problem with any episode so far. I think everything's been it's probably been the best 5 episodes in a row since like series 1.
Well, now here's another thing. Continuing with the trend about him changing time, does he tell Osgood to prevent her death? Does he tell her to rewire? Because she was tinkering with the device. Does she trick Missy into tinkering it to transport her rather than vaporize her, knowing she's going to die? Is this like a prequel to that, or is it like afterwards?
I think she's a
No, but remember we were talking about like the one with the Zygons being before Day of the Doctor?
Yeah.
Before, like, I mean,
well,
is that...
It'll be after Day of the Doctor, but it'll be before Death in Heaven.
It's going to definitely be before Death in Heaven.
Yeah, because they had those photographs, which they don't remember.
So in other words, you think that Osgood's a hybrid?
I think she's a hybrid. They seem to be going through a theme where...
Is everybody a hybrid?
Zygon, they could be one of the Zygons could be impersonating her, and you don't learn until maybe later on in the episode, or...
So the one that dies is a Zygon? The one that dies is a Zygon?
No, the one that dies is the real her, but she's got a hybrid version of herself. Which
I think the one that died, I honestly think that she's going to be really alive, Osgood.
But like I said, the last one, what they're going to what would be smooth to do is either have her be the waitress or the...
Are you talking about Clara now?
Yeah, the Clara.
Okay. We were talking about Osgood.
The waitress or the customer. But either way, you don't realize Danny Pink is the waiter or the customer until the last moment.
Well, talking about Clara, like her end, what do you think is going to happen, Connor?
With Clara?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know which episode she dies in. I don't want to say, actually, out of,
Okay. Obviously, I think she dies before he's in that episode with all of them himself, right?
Well,
like,
yeah. I think she might die, actually, in the
Zygon.
Two-parter, because, like, she's far more... like, she's got a bazooka in the Zygon two-parter, so I don't think that's the real her. It's like, it might be a Zygon version of her, it might be an Echo, but I don't think that's the real her. So she might actually die in the Zygon two-parter. But I think that she actually dies in, like, something like, it'll be Face the Raven, probably.
So she'll die either in the last Zygon or the episode following that.
The episode... No, not the episode following that, the episode after that. So it'll be the one before.
Okay, so what's following the Zygon two-parter?
Sleep No More, which is the found footage one.
And that's a single episode.
It's almost a touch of using Edgar Allan Poe references, too, with their...
That's a single episode, Connor?
I think so. Yeah, probably.
Which is the one with Rigsby in it?
That's Face the Raven.
And she's not in that?
She's in that, but I think that's the one that she dies in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Face the Raven, that's a good title for a tie.
Listen, that's a good point Scott made, and that's a very astute point, actually, because the imagery of the Raven, the way that these episodes are titled, Poe's writings focused on death.
Right, and the Raven, right.
Yeah. There you go, Scott. All right.
There you go. That would be a title for... Okay.
Because now I thought about it, man, what does this remind me of? And then finally, when I heard the Raven thing, yeah, Edgar Allan Poe. And why are they...
Yeah. And then in the ghosts, the stuff with the ghosts and Under the Lake and all that, yeah, there's a lot of, like, Poe, like, seeping into the series. Death, a lot of fear, a lot of forlornment.
Now, the Capaldi-centric episode, is that him with Kekilius and the one from Torchwood and other different...
Is that the episode where it's all Capaldi's?
Right. What is that? Isn't that...
Well, that'll be the first part of the finale, so that'll be episode 11.
Well, oh, that's the first part of the finale?
Yeah.
So the first part of the finale is all Capaldi?
Yeah.
So something happens to Clara before that leads into this episode.
So wait, isn't that how? What is it? Heaven Sent, Hell Bent?
Yeah, that'll
So
be Heaven Sent.
Heaven Sent is all the. I thought there was the one before that.
That's Face the Raven.
Okay.
So from now on, it goes Woman Who Lived, which is this week. Next week is the Zygon Invasion. Then it's the Zygon Inversion. Then it's Sleep No More. Then it's Face the Raven. Then it's Heaven Sent, and then Hellbent.
Oh, then we're done.
Yeah, so we've got 6 weeks after this. But
And then
like,
we got a couple week break and then a Christmas special, right?
yeah,
And then No Who for 2016.
I have no idea.
we'll have specials. We'll have specials, something like that. We're not going to have a full year of No Who. I doubt that heavily. But
Are
like,
we gonna have 6 at least?
I don't know.
Well, mentioning the seeing Clara in the bazooka, could she not be like doing something to like maybe blow up a Zygon ship or something to save everyone or the Doctor, and that's when she dies?
Well, she apparently blows up a plane where the Doctor and Osgood are in that plane. So it's like...
Oh, so that's not Clara, feasibly then, because why would...
Well, it probably won't be Clara if she knows that the Doctor and Osgood are in that plane.
Yeah, that's probably the intro teaser before the credits to get people hooked into watching the episode. Is, you know, they're going to have Clara drive up on the motorbike on the hillside with the bazooka and shoot the plane, and everyone's going, "Holy crap! What is this all about?"
Right.
And then you go in the credits. That seems
Correct. I
like,
agree with you with that. That you're perfectly dead on. I think.
Because I mean, we saw the pictures, the filming pictures, where Capaldi was like doing a bit of Bond, where he was on the parachute. You know, he was parachuting down. So that'll be leading on from that, where she blows up the plane with that bazooka.
Could the waitress scene be that's what she was before she was a nanny? Like sort of a repeat of End of Time where he visits her before, like he meets her? Like in other words, she's a waitress and then she'll become someone's nanny, and then she'll get a letter, and you know, the girl in the shop, which is Missy, gives her the help with the computer. I mean, could it be that he's visiting her before she dies, or is it like, you know, another Clara, or like the chip, maybe she lives forever but her memory's messed up? Like, is she showed there in that scene today that she just doesn't remember too much things about the past?
But,
could it be something like that?
I think she's purposefully not trying to remember, because it's obviously, like I said, the immortality has scarred her. It's left her, you know.
So is Danny Pink immortal right now in the Nethersphere? Serious question, no joke.
I honestly think he's in the Nethersphere because he had to be somewhere that he was talking to her.
Well, then would Clara, would she receive like that other chip so that she would therefore be immortal, to where the two of them would live happily ever after?
No, but she still has to get into the Nethersphere then.
Well, they'd have to kill her, but then, well...
They can't use the chip then.
Well, they wouldn't have to at that point, right?
I mean,
please explain to me what the hell happened with the Nethersphere, anyways, because I might have like.
I have no. Listen, Mom didn't explain that. Nobody. He didn't explain it.
You're the theory guy. Tell me what happened.
He didn't
I watched the episodes. I didn't even know what the hell happened.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Now.
No, but wait a minute. Please, Connor. You saved the half-faced man, okay? You saved the person from Into the Dalek. You saved the person from Caretaker. All these people were brought into the Nethersphere, right? Are we ever going to use them? What happens? And when Danny
became Cybermen.
That's what the whole thing was? That they just Cybermen?
Yeah, that's
Even
it.
the half-faced man, that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Okay.
I see where Joe's going with that, and I agree with him. It seems like a lot of like pomp and circumstance for things that like never paid off. You know, it's kind of like.
But don't
okay,
they have enough dead bodies to become
like,
Cybermen? Why would they have to use those guys?
Or why need to reference them in such a way? That was very specific, the way they utilized those characters in the way that they died. I mean, it seems like a little kind of a toss-away as to, like, oh yeah, they're, you know, that I mean, you see where I'm going with that? That it seemed like,
if you're bringing
why go
back
through all that?
Person that died, right? If they're dust, they still could be converted into a Cyberman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell do you need those people for to be Cybermen?
If it's something else, we'll probably find out sometime, probably this series.
But another thing is, Danny Pink, right? He had a body in the Nethersphere. He went back in the Cyberman body. He blew up, and then immediately when he died, he was linked to the Nethersphere. He went back in there. Okay,
Yeah.
he's normal. He's normal. He's talking to her, and he says, "Okay, I only have one trip, right? And I can't come." So you're sending the kid in your place, but you're still in the Nethersphere.
Yeah, but he can't get back to Earth because the Nethersphere is now closed. He's only got one trip, like he said.
But where the hell is the Nethersphere?
I don't think we're supposed to know.
I mean, Missy has it. Where the hell is it?
Missy probably abandoned it. I mean,
I
she
don't
was.
think so. I mean, she jokes around with it. Did he come back yet? Oh, no? Okay. Meaning that he can.
Well, actually, the way that she said that, because she said, "How's your boyfriend?" Tremendously dead, I expect. So she didn't even know herself. So it's like she probably doesn't even know where the Nethersphere is herself. So it's like, you know, she's probably abandoned it, or it's gone, or.
You know
It's
the guy that she
up to her.
killed? You know her friend, the guy that was with her, that he's like, squeeze, right?
Yeah, Seb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't you think that, like, she kills them all the time and just brings them back with a new body? That's the joke with the Nethersphere. Like, she probably killed him so many different times that she could just bring him back with a new body. Like, he could probably pop in there, too. I'm not trying to be ridiculous. I have a problem with Moffat not finishing certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we're getting away from the Nethersphere thing, right? You know, the whole big, you know. But the thing was, like, you hated the whole situation that Danny Pink died, that you went to throw his keys in the lava. Now you're over it all of a sudden. Like, you know, the doctor wouldn't even say, "Hey, let's go find him again." I mean, I don't understand that. Technically, they could go back in time to when Danny Pink's talking to her. The moment the kid gets dropped off, they can have the TARDIS with the psychic link go get him and bring him back. Technically.
Well, there's some inconsistency there, at least on the surface, because if he was able to, like, well, he didn't have to go back in time, but he altered things by giving her the chip that brought her back to life. Could he have not done that? Not with the chip, but I mean, like, just done something to prevent
Save her?
Pink's death?
Well, yeah. See, my thing is I never saw the car hit Danny Pink, so whatever.
They're going to do something with that secondary chip because they really went out of their way to.
They're gonna bring Clara back.
Because I mean,
you to give later on.
Yeah, they left that breadcrumb down there to be picked up later.
Clara's gonna get the chip, or Miss.
Because no one's
I'm
going to.
thinking on Missy. I'm thinking Missy's probably going to con her into giving her the chip some way. And it's like, oh, the doctor's really in danger. He's about to die. Give this to me, and I will save the doctor for you. And then, boop.
You don't think he's gonna give it to Osgood, right?
Well, we see some foreshadowing going on with Clara because Missy keeps saying, "I'm going to kill you." You know,
Right, you're right
about
about that. You're right about that. She's not yet, meaning that
Yeah.
she might be the one to kill her.
Hilarious. Entertaining.
She might be the one to kill her.
But the Clinton Benghazi thing's going on in the background. I just Sandra came in the room. She's like, "Oh, listen to that crap up there." I'm like, "Yep, all right."
The next Republic arms look really bad.
So, anyways, yeah, I see that they're doing a lot of foreshadowing with death, and I want to say I'm leaning towards that. I agree with Scott where he's saying that it's about Missy, something to do with Missy, like we talked about earlier in this cast, with the chip and Clara. There's some weird thing going on with all those elements involved.
Well, actually, at some point, Missy did actually, if you watched how she was reacting, she kind of inferred that Clara was the hybrid.
How so?
This could be in reference to the Asylum of the Daleks.
Because, because in that scene where she nearly persuaded the Doctor to kill Clara in the Dalek, or to destroy the Dalek to kill Clara, she said something like, I can't remember it exactly word for word, but she said something like, I put you two together to realize enemies within friends and friends within enemies.
Yeah.
And then she mentioned the hybrid, and she looks towards Clara. So I think Missy could be a product. Clara might be a product of Missy. So maybe Clara's the hybrid because Missy's created a hybrid at some point. If you watch that scene back in The Witch is Familiar, you'll see what I mean, because there's a very distinct look towards Clara when she mentions that she put them together to realize friends within enemies and enemies within friends. So I think that the hybrid thing is extremely significant.
Maybe the Doctor's the hybrid.
I doubt it's a hybrid.
He's always had problems with regenerating, but nobody else has.
Well, it's the thing with doing a hybrid thing with the Doctor directly is that then you're going to go back to the god-awful TV movie where they said that he was half human.
Right.
So, like, it's going to anger people if you do that.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, Clara, you can perfectly make a case for her being the hybrid, especially after what Missy said.
But doesn't she have regeneration energy now that she was in the Dalek?
Well, we don't necessarily know if, the hybrid that Davros was talking about was even Time Lord and Dalek, because I think he was being a tiny bit presumptuous in what he was saying. He didn't know himself. He just knew that there was some form of a prophecy on Gallifrey about a hybrid.
Well, wait a minute. We know
two warrior races.
We know that Missy's responsible for putting Clara up with the Doctor, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. That she did that to.
Well, Clara is a hybrid now because she became a Time Lord with the Doctor's regeneration energy.
When?
When she was in the Dalek.
So we're gonna, if I'm not mistaken, we're gonna see now how Missy put Clara with the Doctor because she's gonna become the hybrid at Missy's hand because of the chip.
No, but didn't she become the hybrid already with the regeneration energy?
Well, the regeneration thing, when the Doctor put his hands on the wires and it was,
right. The Dalek's a part Time Lord, part human now, right? Or no?
It never affected Clara's Dalek. She never shut down. She never started glowing.
She didn't have to shut down. The regeneration energy was all over her, wasn't it?
No. In that scene, it wasn't. The regeneration energy wasn't on her Dalek specifically.
Because if I remember right, Ross tried to focus it only into the Daleks themselves.
Yeah, all of them.
Because then, immediately after, Clara followed Missy, while all the other Daleks were.
But the wires were programmed for the Khaled Daleks, not for a Clara Dalek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So it didn't affect her.
Why wouldn't it be programmed for her one Dalek out of every Dalek that's there?
Because Davros
Dalek.
Yeah, Davros coded that specifically, that formula for the Doctor's energy to go into a Khaled Dalek, not Clara.
Even though she was in the Dalek, she wouldn't get the regeneration energy.
Because she's humanoid.
But they don't know that. They didn't even know that she was human.
But it doesn't matter. It's encoded. It's regardless.
I see what you're saying. Now I understand what you're saying. Okay, gotcha.
It's like if I had software to load to a Mac, it wouldn't work on a PC, because it's different.
Correct. All right, so let's jump ahead now. What are we expecting to happen to Clara? Is that scene with her as a waitress, is that part of the episode and then she dies after? Is that her living on without memory?
I'm trying to remember the Big Finish episode because they had I think it was a two-parter. I think it was a two deal with one Doctor and then another, where a Zygon took on the role of this other character, and the Doctor fixed his pretty much brainwashed the Zygon thinking that they're that person. I'm just thinking that if they're going to go with the fact that Claire died, the real Claire died, then it's going to be a Zygon with Claire's memories, so that way it'll help the Doctor in some way, shape, and form cope with the fact that she actually died.
Mhm.
Is
That's
that
that's in Hellbent.
This one?
Yeah, that's in Hellbent. That'll be after she dies. So she'll be a expert of some description.
Okay, help. So this is the last episode.
Sam's
Yeah.
got eggs.
And she's wearing TARDIS colors, basically.
Yeah, that's nice.
God, it's a shame we're starting to like Clara and she's about to go.
Yeah, she's actually been extremely likable in the series for once.
Clara.
There's one scene where she looks that there was where was that thing? She looks like she's looking like, oh my God, what is that like? I was saying there was a look that she gave where it was like maybe she heard the TARDIS go away and she's like staring at it. I gotta find that picture. We had it on the last show before. Let me see. I don't know where it went. I don't know. All right, so
Well, I can tell you one thing. Think back on like the new Who companions. How many companions left in a good way? I mean, Martha just walked away, but I mean, Rose. I mean,
yeah, I know it's
you
all.
know, Rory, Amy. Yeah, I mean, it's never really like a situation where everybody's all smiles.
But does it have to be always bad? Can't we just like? I mean, I just don't want it to back into a corner where every single time someone comes or goes, it's like, how do we let them go this time? Do we have to make it better than last time? It's like there's too much pressure with that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think a lot of the actors and actresses also, after being on the series for so long, they want a memorable like way of leaving.
Right.
Where because like I think they feel like if it's something that's less than dramatic,
Right.
then it lets them down as an actor in a way. Like they want to have something to be able to emote about, like for the fan base to be pining over, like, oh, Clara's dead, or you know, Amy or Rory died, or you know, it's got to be something dramatic rather than just like, you know, hey, I'm dropping you off, take care, good luck to you, bye.
Well, I know when she left with him that time, that was like the most horriblest thing when he's like, I found Gallifrey, I'm with Danny Pink. Don't you think that was awful? When they had that, and then of course Santa Claus they threw into it at the end of the, you know, Death in Heaven, which was terrible.
Well, look at Harry. Harry was like, it's like in one episode.
He just never like. Where did he go?
Yeah, he just disappeared.
That was weird.
It's like, yeah, I'm staying on a unit at HQ now, and you know, I think Harry was just kind of over the whole traveling thing. He's like, you know, about died like 4 times, so.
Yeah, the only time he
thanks a lot,
man. Was in
Peace out. He was the smartest one, though. He's the smartest one.
I think he made up his mind when he like threw his shoe up in Ark in space and it got blasted, and he was like, "No, that's all right. After this, I'm staying home. Once I get back from Space Station Nerva or whatever that whole story arc."
And Nostradamus' wife knit him the scarf.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was good, so yeah. He's like, oh, she didn't mean the scarf. We got blasted. Yeah, he got blasted, yeah.
I think she did that on Valentine's Day also.
Yeah, Valentine's. I'm never going to hear the end of that one. Shit, I know. All right. Well, this has been a memorable cast, nice and long. Thank you very much, Connor and Mike D.
Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah.
Welcome back. All right, gang.
We got to give a couple of shout-outs.
Uh-oh. Okay.
No, don't worry about it.
Right.
We got to give a shout-out to Jacob and the Galaxy Man Show and Clark and the Clark Channel.
Yeah, you got a new job, I heard. Congratulations.
Yes. And
we've also got the Who Show Haters edition tonight, I believe.
Tonight?
Bring on the haters.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah,
well,
but
yeah, I gotta
they're
go to sleep
exposing a
tomorrow.
lot of-
Right.
They're exposing a lot. I don't know.
The
what
Who
they're gonna
Show.
do.
The Who Show. The Who Show.
Like,
Who show? Who show? Who show?
Who Show. Who Show. Yeah, that'd be dumb. Who Show.
Who shot who show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got an announcement to make. I'm just kidding.
Well, okay. Well, actually, I have an announcement to make. We were talking about it off air. We're going to be having a new show suggested by James on here, where, of course, I'm going to be the host, and it's going to be like a confrontational thing where in the episode, our episode, the person that has a problem with someone else about their views with Doctor Who, they're going to go into a heated debate. Now, of course, the rules are simple.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Number one, this sounds like a show that I should be hosting. But number two, that's what the Who crew is all about.
No. This James wants to be in a show with steampunk about something, so
okay.
they're going to have to go in there and settle their differences. But it's going to be friendly. Listen, it's going to be a friendly thing where the rules are. After it's over, nobody go hunting anybody. Just stay inside, resolve it, and then that's it. Like, we don't want none of that nonsense. Like, no packages in the mail, bombs, or just look, just settle it.
That's hardcore.
Deal with it. Like, so James has something to say. Steve Wrong, they're gonna talk about their mixing views of certain things with Doctor Who. So it's gonna be called Who Fire, and that will be coming next week.
Oh, well, hell, send me an invite, please. I would love to be on that. I don't know if you can take me and James and Steve.
I'm very scared about that episode. I gotta say, I'm very scared about that episode.
That's why I said I should start on Halloween.
I actually think that me and Mike need to do one on Castrovalva.
You know what? That you could be episode 2. That would be.
Yeah. Oh. Now we'll be in episode 1 also.
Oh God.
Again, James wants it, so okay. Yeah, I know. Oh God, I'm so worried right now. All right. Yeah.
Is this going to be an edit-free show?
Yeah.
No, this is going to be pretty much the same.
This is pretty much a no holds barred. I mean, it's a debate thing. It's a heated thing. I mean, it's not a real Whovian, so that's what was requested. So okay.
I can tell you, man, if James can hang in there with dealing with talking to Chris for more than 5 minutes, he's going to get a Medal of Valor award. Because I've been there, and man, it's tough.
Right. Well, we want friendly. Look, I wish them both the best with their little debate. I'll talk to Steampunk about it because I didn't get to talk to him about it yet. But
and he doesn't get to blame the Doctor Who episode on Pika. It's not Pika's fault.
We'll see what happens, really. Again, very hesitant, but all right. I listened, so we'll see.
Well, you officially have me on that show if you would like me on there. I'd love to be on there also.
I think.
Why don't you let me mediate it?
No. The thing is, it's got to focus on those two going at it, not like.
That's why I'm saying let me mediate it.
But it's not okay. But
because I know how to stir both of them up if need be with dealing. Like a good host knows to bring out the best in each for entertainment value.
Right.
So
I just want to say though that it's not like a. It's a thing about a view with Doctor Who. Yeah, certain views that in the previous cast that they had talked about, they had a problem with the subject. I gotta go watch that episode now.
Connor and I we'll do episode 2, Castrovalva, but I'm gonna tell you, we need to do an episode where we have talking about people who are like the fans of Doctor Who the franchise versus New Who like fangirls and hipsters.
Yes.
Okay, if it's Who Fire, yeah.
Okay, and we'll be polite. We're just bringing up.
No. I mean, listen, Who Fire is a different format.
Okay.
So the Real Whovians cast is all ages, but we need to have it's a different format. Who Fire, so it's already known. It's going to be like that. So, all right, guys. Again, thank you to everyone here. Mike D. Connor.
Hey, we got through a whole cast without me talking about hanging out of a dumpster.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
And we will talk about that. All right. Take care. Take care. Bye for now.
Thank you.